Hi, this is Gary with MACMOST.com. Let me show you different ways that you can make your photo files smaller before sending them to somebody over email. MACMOST is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 2,000 supporters. Go to MACMOST.com/Patreon. There you could read more about it, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. Now, if you're going to send somebody an email message with a photo in it, you may not want to send them the full-sized file. They can be quite big, and if you want to send a few of them, it's easy to have a huge email that they may not even be able to get because of restrictions on how big messages can be for them. Now, the first way I'm going to show you is by using the Mail app on your Mac, which makes it really easy if you don't care about the specifics. So, for instance, I have an image here selected in the Photos app. Now, let's say I want to send it by mail. Now, I could start sending it many different ways. For instance, I could drag and drop this into a mail composition window. I can click the share button here and select mail, for instance. Either way I do it, I'm going to end up with a composition window here, and then the photo is going to be in here. Now, automatically, Mail will compress this image. It's not going to send the original image. If I go back to Photos and I look at this image here, get info on it, I can see that it's 1.6 megs in size, which isn't that bad. It's a JPEG photo. So let's see what it is in Mail. In Mail, it's actually smaller. You can see it tells you here at the top, message size is 641K. So it's compressing the photo. If you look carefully to the right here, you're going to see image size, and you can choose small, medium, or large. It's very important to pay attention to which one you choose. It's going to remember for the next time as well. So for instance, if I choose to send a small image, and you can see how much smaller it is, and you can see that file size is now 47K, well, the next time it's also going to send a small image, which may not be good if, say, if it's a screenshot. You'd barely be able to read the text on it. So you want to choose what's appropriate for whatever it is you're sending. Like medium might be fine here if I just want to show somebody a photo. But if I want them to have a nice high-resolution version, then large is probably best. But maybe this is a photo that includes them in it, and I know they're going to want to save it in their Photos app and keep it. Then I may want to choose actual size. And here it won't compress the image at all. It's going to be 1.6 megs, just like it is in Photos. So you can see here how Mail gives you a really easy way to make the photo smaller. And it works for multiple images as well. So for instance, if I choose a series of 5 images here, and I go to send those by mail, then I'm going to see all 5 images here in the message. And you can see how the total is 8.9 megs. That's actual size. If I go to large, you can see it gets much smaller, medium, even smaller than that. Now the message is something easier for the person to handle on the other end. It's just very important that you check that every time. Even if you don't want to use that method, Mail is always going to have small, medium, and large and actual size there, provided the image is large enough to even use large or medium. And if you don't look carefully, you may end up sending a small image when you really wanted to send, say, a large one. Now you may get a slightly different result if you copy and paste. For instance, I have this image here selected, and if I copy it, I'm actually not going to get as high resolution of an image as if I were to export it. So for instance, if I now paste this in Mail, you could see that I get actual size, medium, and small. I don't actually get a large option. The actual size image is 451K. Medium will take that down to 167. So it's actually already compressing it just by doing the copy. On the other hand, I could export. So when I want to export, say, this image here, I have different options. I can go to File and then Export, and I can export one photo. And when I do, I can pick the size. And I get small, medium, large, and full size just like before. I can also choose custom and actually set a specific width or height or full dimensions for it. So let's go to, say, full size here. And I can also pick quality. So I go to maximum quality, high, which will be almost as good, but it will compress it a bit. Medium will compress it more, a low will compress it a lot more and save you some space, but you'll lose quality. So let's stick with high and full size. And if I export here and put it on the desktop, I'll get this one here. I'll just name it Pick 1. But let's go and export the same one. And this time, I'm actually going to reduce the size to, say, large and the quality to, say, medium. So now when I export, you can see I get the second picture here. Get info on this first picture and you can see it's 1.6 megs. The second one here, that's only 366K. So now I not only have control of the size, but also the quality, which will allow me to compress it more. So now I can simply drag and drop this file into the Mail app. And watch carefully. When I do this one, you can see it brings it in. I still have image size, small, medium, large, or actual size. you can see actual size gives me the size of this photo. It's just going to actually attach this image. But if I choose one of these other ones, it's going to recompress it. And actually in this case, recompressing it to large size makes the file a little bit bigger, so you have to watch out for that. But small or medium will actually make it even smaller. But there was no point to exporting at a specific size unless I'm going to actually attach it at actual size and get the compression level and size that I chose. Now another thing you may want to do is consider cropping a photo to save space. Like for instance, if you want to crop this in a little bit closer, you can make it much smaller. So I'm going to go in Photos to Edit and choose Crop. And then I'm going to bring the corners in and I'm going to crop it, maybe take out some of the bottom there. I can actually choose the different aspects here, so I can have it be original, or I'm going to do freeform, so I can get rid of a lot of this bottom here. And I can make it something, say, like this. And now it's going to actually be using less of the photo. I can click Done here, and now when I go to send this one, and let's actually send it this way, you can see here the size, the actual size, is smaller. It's because there are fewer pixels involved. I've cropped out a lot of the photo. And back in the Photos app, you don't have to worry about the cropping being permanent because it's not. Go back into Edit and you can always revert to Original and get back all that's there. The original is always saved. So you can basically crop it temporarily, send it over to Mail, and then revert to Original back in the Photos app. Now another thing you could do is you can use Preview to take care of all of these things. So I've got this image selected here and I can go to Image and then Edit With. And I can choose an external editor. So of course if you've got something like Pixelmator Pro or Affinity Photo, you can actually bring the photo into there and you can crop it, you can resize it, you can press it and all that. I'm just going to use Preview because we all have Preview. So once you bring it into Preview, first thing you might want to do is crop it. So I'm going to select an area just by dragging out a rectangle like that. And I can reposition the rectangle and then I can go to Tools and then Crop. So now I've cropped it. Now I can go to Tools and adjust size. And here I can set the width and height and I can say make this 1,000 pixels wide. And OK. And then when I go to File, Export, I can now go in and actually set a quality amount. I can see an estimate of the file size. So now I can export this as a file after cropping, resizing, and setting a quality level. And remember, since you're editing it in an external editor, it's going to actually change it in the Photos app too, but you can just go to Image and revert to Original and then get the original back. You can do that right afterwards, or if you forget, you can do it later on. So then here I've got the new image and I can look at it and you can see it's pretty small. I can preview it. You can see it's still pretty decent. And now I can attach that to a mail message. Like before, I want to make sure that I check the image size. You can see here it doesn't even offer large as an option because there's just not enough pixels there. But if I had it set to medium, it'll make it even smaller, or small will make it really tiny. So I want to make sure I use actual size since I've taken care of compressing it myself in Preview. And the great thing about using Preview for this is that you can do it with images that are not even in the Photos app. So if you have images just as files, you can open them up in Preview, do the crop, do the resize, export with a different quality level, and now you can send that image along in a mail message. Of course, the advantage is doing it in the Photos app, just simply using File, Export, and then export the photos like this, is that if I have several photos selected, like I have 5 here, I'm sending the quality and the size for all of them at once. So I can now export these images all at a smaller size, easily attach them all. Whereas with Preview, you'd have to do them one by one, but some third-party apps do have batch processing available, so you can resize and compress a bunch of image files at the same time. I hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know. I publish new tutorials each weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out.